Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Neighbourhood Network's launch event. I'm going to share just a little bit of information for you before we start an event about webinars. So for those of you that are new to webinars, it might look different from a traditional Zoom meeting in that you'll just see the speakers and not the other attendees on your screen. And all the attendee videos and microphones are disconnected for this session, but you do have a chance to interact as an attendee by putting things in chat or asking any questions in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. And one of my colleagues, Donna Hegarty, is manning that today, so she'll be picking up any of your chat or any of your questions. And also just a final note to let you know that this session, along with the rest of our sessions, are all being recorded because we're going to use them for kind of training videos and things for staff down the line, important kind of documentation for us to keep. So thank you very much for coming along. There'll be an opportunity again throughout the session for you to ask questions and put your comments and things in the chat, and I'd encourage you to do so. So I'm going to pass you over to Ross Watson, who is the chair of the Board of Trustees, who's going to start the session by making some introductions.
Thanks, Heather. Hello, everyone. My name is Ross Watson, and I am the chair of Neighbourhood Network's Board of Trustees. I would like to welcome you all to this first event of our virtual conference, Networks as Agents of Change. Together, anything is possible. I would like to introduce you to all our panellists. We are joined today by Claire Adamson, MSP for Murrow and Wishaw, who is also my local MSP. Welcome, Claire, and thank you for sharing your time today. We are also joined by Michael McKeon, who is a freelance journalist who is here to tell us about his work and all about the Stay Up Late campaign and a Stay Up Late event that is taking place on Thursday night at the end of the conference. Welcome, Michael. Finally, we are joined by Heather Calvo, who is the CEO of Neighbourhood Networks and will tell us more about the conference and the organisation. Thanks to everyone for their time and interest this morning, and I will pass you over to Claire for some opening remarks.
Good morning, everyone. I'm absolutely delighted to be with you this morning for your conference. I had the absolute pleasure of visiting Neighbourhood Networks in my constituency in Motherwell and Wishaw at the start of March. And I was had the best time, one of the best constituency visits I've ever done, because I was able to hear about all the incredible work and the entertainment and the activities that you're all taking part in through Neighbourhood Networks. So we heard about your sporting achievements. There was entertainment and singing. There was discussion about the volunteering opportunities that people were undertaking and the friendships that had all grown up around Neighbourhood Networks. It was absolutely inspiring, and thank you to you all for your welcome and your continued interest in my work as an MSP and how I can help you in Neighbourhood Networks. I was particularly joyful to take away one of your newsletters that included poems from William Miller. And I can't mention everyone who enjoyed his entertainment we enjoyed that day, but William had done some lovely poetry that still is with me today, a particular one about the girl with the flowing red hair whose ringlets looked like a staircase, and how she lived in an ethereal world, and he would like to, the boy in the poem would like to have lived in her world. And it was simply breathtaking how beautiful that poem was. So as well as being a constituency MSP in the Parliament, I'm convener of one of the committees in the Parliament. That's the Constitution, Europe, External Affairs and Culture Committee. So it's a big remit, but the culture part of that is very, very important, because after the pandemic, one of the things that I am absolutely passionate about is well-being in our communities, and organisations that use music, use entertainment, use creative writing to build that well-being. And one of the other asks I had of the day was that I'd tell the First Minister about all your great work. So a few days after my visit, we have what's called the conveners meeting with the First Minister, where we're able to ask her about the policies of the government and how she's going to make a difference to people's lives in Scotland. And I was able to mention Neighbourhood networks as a brilliant example of well-being in our communities. So I did take that message to her. And what I hope for the future is that as things open up and we're getting over COVID, I can welcome network neighbourhoods to the Parliament, and you can come and see your Parliament and tell your story to the First Minister and my other fellow MSPs. So have a wonderful conference this morning. I'm afraid I can't stay for the whole conference, but I'll be here for the next half hour or so. So have a wonderful day and really enjoy what is going to be a great set of presentations and information for you all. And thank you once again for my welcome previously, but also for my welcome today to your conference.
Thank you so much, Claire. We are so excited about the offer to come to the Scottish Parliament. That's amazing. Thank you so much. So folks, my name's Heather Calvin. As Ross introduced me, I'm the CEO of Neighbourhood Networks. So I'm aware that we've got lots of visitors here today, and I'm noticing the chat, we've got people here from New Zealand. That's absolutely amazing. So I think it's your night time. So you're all staying up late to come and take part. So thank you so much. So I'm going to give a bit of background to Neighbourhood Networks, for those of you that don't know it. And for those that you do, just sit back and enjoy the story again of Neighbourhood Networks. So I'm going to share my screen and show some information for you all. So bear with me a second. Okay, so obviously the root of the conference was a very special birthday that we have in Neighbourhood Networks. And last year we hit the 20-year mark of 20 years of delivering and supporting networks across the central belt of Scotland. And it was such a special anniversary that despite the challenges of lockdown, we wanted to do something to celebrate. So our virtual conference is one of a number of activities that we're in the middle of taking part in. So again, thank you for your time and coming along today. Now we have an action-packed programme. There's 10 other events after this morning's session, including another 3 today. There's in the chat, there's a link for right at the start of the chat, there's a link for the Eventbrite page on our website. If you want to go on and book anything else, there's still plenty of opportunity to do that. But to run through the programme very quickly, our next session is about all our community building work. That's coming up later this morning. We have a panel discussion this afternoon with some other partners and people that we work with to do some innovative work together. And there's a really, really lovely session this afternoon with some interviews with people who have met and formed relationships and friendships through being in the network. So I would really encourage you to come along to listen to that. There's an early morning start for, again, hopefully welcome some of our people from New Zealand there at that. Tomorrow morning, where we've got colleagues from Keering down south, from Finland, from New Zealand and from the Netherlands, coming to talk about how we do similar work together and the connections we've made. We've got an event which is looking at sharing skills in filmmaking. We've got a session on all our digital connection and work that we've done. And then tomorrow afternoon, we've made connections with an organisation called Legal Services Agency, who are coming to talk to us about using the law to challenge discrimination. So that's going to be really interesting. And then on Thursday morning, we were lucky enough to take part in a programme called Pilot Light, where we connected with people from the business world. So Richard Moore from Pilot Light's coming to talk about that work, and that certainly would probably be of interest to other organisations, and I would highly recommend that process. And then our second last session is all about governance and member involvement and how we engage the people we support, our members, to become involved in boards and become trustees. And then our last session is involving another of our partners outside the box to talk about how the Human Rights Act can be used to help change communities. And then we'll end our session with some highlights from the conference. So it's action-packed. There's something there for everybody. And I would encourage you to get yourselves booked on and come and join us. So a wee bit about the history of Neighbourhood Networks. Well, we started in May 2001, and North Lanarkshire was our first local authority area. And we have grown in the 20 years. We now have 35 networks across 10 local authorities supporting 300 people. So we've had quite extraordinary growth, particularly over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, bedding in across the Central Belt. So this might look familiar to some people in this room. So that's an example of what a network looks like. So it's people who live locally, reasonably close to one another, in ordinary housing, and in their locations, they come together in something called a network, where they get together, they share their skills and gifts and time with each other, they support each other with the help of a staff member called a community living worker. So this is the lady down here in purple and pink. So the community living worker also lives in the same community, and that's incredibly important to make it work. So people who are eligible for the service, well, it's anybody who's lonely or isolated. It might be somebody who's maybe got a learning disability or experiences poor mental health or a physical disability. It's really open to people who can either travel independently or opening to learn that skill. And we very much help people work towards outcomes. So people want to be part of a network to achieve something. And it works very well for people who've maybe not had very much social work support or had little formal support before. And the idea of it is it's light touch to help people, give them just what they need at the right time without over supporting, so people become independent. And the three main aspects to neighbourhood network support are peer support. That's the most important part. Community connecting and housing support. So peer support is about people being as independent as possible, but sharing their skills with one another. And it's a massive boost to people's confidence and self-esteem when they get the chance to do that. And it means that people become less reliant on paid support. And a community living worker has quite a unique role, that they're there to provide just enough support, but immediately identify when they can step back and let something happen naturally. And I remember a number of years ago, a former colleague saying, the mantra of neighbourhood network should be, what's the least you can do to make something happen? Okay. So housing support, obviously we work with people to help them manage their tenancies. We might be working with people who maybe are living independently for the first time on their own. So we help people with maybe support with budgeting, paying bills, keeping on top of mail. We also help people develop the skills to manage to live independently, sort of cooking, basic household tasks. And there's a really strong emphasis on responsibility. You've got responsibility when you take over a tenancy. So we work with people closely to help them manage that and live up to the expectation of having a tenancy. The support that we offer is incredibly unique in that it's very, very flexible. So our community living workers don't follow a shift pattern, and they work out their availability based on the needs of the network, what they have in their own lives, and also what opportunities might be coming up. So it could be during the day, it could be at weekends. It really depends on the needs and the opportunities of the network and the community itself. And that allows, that flexible support allows community living workers to really support members to think about their hobbies and interests and get to know other people in a very flexible, responsive way. And then another kind of huge part of what we do is about community connecting and encouraging people to be part of community life. So we're all about using the same resources as everybody else. It's local cafes, libraries, community centres, the local Wetherspoons. It's all about where everybody else is living and using those spaces. And we want our members to be very confident in their communities and playing an active part. And what I would say is our members are incredibly active in their communities, and we have very much to give our communities. And this slide I'm showing you is one example of that. And there's a session later this morning to talk about angels and aeroplanes in our community building project. So we had a fashion show a number of years ago that engaged huge numbers of people across our communities and volunteers and people sharing their skills in songwriting and sewing. And we put on this riotous fashion show called Angels and Aeroplanes. and we've subsequently gone on to have other events. And our members are incredibly generous with their time and their skills as well. And we have raised lots of money for other organisations and charities through triathlons, comedy nights. So our members are incredibly active and contribute a great deal to the communities they stay in. Okay. The benefits of a network are that it's a very low cost, and it's all about preventative support. It's an early warning system, so we can see very quickly if somebody's struggling and get things into place. And quite often, actually, that early warning comes from other members who might notice somebody's getting into difficulty or just seems maybe just not quite themselves. So we're able to respond really quickly and put things in place to help that person overcome their crisis. It's all about preventing loneliness and isolation, and we know all the studies that tell you the impact on long-term health and well-being. Members are absolutely supported and are valued and encouraged to share their skills, and that has a massive impact on confidence and self-esteem. And we're all about people spending time with friends and far less time with paid support, and that's a much more meaningful life. Okay. We are an organisation that's registered with the Care Service, and we work towards help people work towards outcomes, which people identify themselves at the start of the process. And we cover the gamut of life, really. So we cover independent travel, managing your money, the life skills I touched on earlier, having good health and well-being, having good friends and relationships, employment and volunteering, confidence and self-esteem, and community participation. So it's all the stuff of having a well-rounded good life, and we help people work towards those outcomes. And as I said, we are registered with the Care Inspectorate as a housing support service, and we have very high grades. Our last inspection was a 6 for care and support and a 5 for the quality of staffing, which is and we take pride in having very high grades. So in a nutshell, the network is about bringing the people together. The worker is there to help relationship building between the members. There's regular meetings where people talk about opportunities to get involved with each other and their communities. A lot of our outcomes are quite often achieved through social activity. But we also facilitate conversations about what people need in their lives. And again, the whole emphasis is on peer support, I should say. So I wanted to touch a wee bit on the last 2 years and the impact of COVID, which has had an enormous impact on all of us. And although, some aspects of the support we provided was definitely affected by COVID, the local model meant that people really were able to stay in touch and be very well supported and continue to support each other and offer peer support. So throughout lockdown, we continued all our welfare calls. We were able to provide emergency support, and that was easier for us to do because of the local model. There was lots and lots of peer support went on. There was lots of welfare calls between members. There was a huge amount of emphasis on digital activity, and a lot of our members offered support to each other to get hooked on to events, to set up Wi-Fi and things. We did quite a lot of kind of creative things. We had a soup-a-thon where we sent around soup packs to everybody across the networks, and everybody made a big bowl of soup one day together. We then had a regular cooking session with the Shortcut Chef that was online. We did seed growing competitions. We sent activity packs. And then when things started to get a bit safer and we were kind of allowed out more regularly, we started to help people prepare to get back into community life and sort of safe socially distanced walks and talks. So we have, I think, responded really flexibly to the COVID, and people have stayed in touch and stayed well. And we're very, very grateful for that. And I wanted to show you a little film, and it's actually William again, Claire. And William was interviewed by his community living worker just to talk about his experience of digital connection and the impact that had made on him during COVID. So I'm going to just, hopefully this will play. Good, it's working.
Community living worker setting up WhatsApp, showing how to use it. At first, the community living worker took over and then get stepped back, and we took responsibility ourselves and members and did things every night, and quizzes, games, karaoke. every night, and now every different members are taking responsibility for different things every day. I was maybe more confident and positive before. I maybe wouldn't speak to MD, you know, but being in WhatsApp and able to speak to them or through the group chats and through the different various activities that goes on every day.
What about your mood? How do you think it's helped your mood and your overall well-being?
Well, a big difference. If I hadn't had WhatsApp, I wouldn't be able to communicate with other members of the network, you know, during the lockdown, be able to see them and speak to them.
So I wanted to share that because obviously the impact of COVID has been enormous in all of us, but as I said, we have learnt so much and continued to learn and grow throughout that experience, and digital, and the very fact we're all sitting here having a virtual conference, I think is testament to the skills and stuff that we've developed as an organisation and our members have developed. So that's one of the silver linings out of a really dreadful event. I also wanted to share with you today that we have a launch for our annual report, and there's going to be a link up in the chat when I stop sharing. In fact, I'll just do that now, because that's got lots and lots of stories of COVID and how people's resilience and courage to deal with that situation. So it's really interesting reading. So I would encourage you to take a look and read some of our stories of the experience of COVID. Okay. So that's everything about the model and the history. I just wondered if anybody had any kind of questions or feedback. Donna, do you want to come in here if there's anything in the chat that anybody you want to feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few questions. Somebody was just asking there if we're going to be sharing the recordings. So I've just put up a response that we'll be putting as many as possible up on our YouTube channel. There's also the link there for our annual report and also to sign up for the other sessions. And just really a big hello to everybody that's joining us from all across the world today. There's been a lot of hellos and welcomes and a wee bit of chat going on there. So just a big hello to everybody that's kind of joined us from wherever you are this morning. Really appreciated. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Donna. Okay, so can I introduce Michael McKeon? I'll let you unmute yourself, Michael.
Yes, thanks for inviting me here, and good to be here. My name is Michael McKeon. I'm a first and foremost, I'm a freelance journalist and a disability campaigner and activist. I'm the chairperson of my local disability group out in East Renfrewshire, where we give a voice to people with a disability. So I've been chair there for about 7 years now, and we're made up of organisations like Neighbourhood networks, because I know Cheryl Walker comes along to the meetings, and we work with different partners in the area as well. So yeah, but I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks, Michael. So I was just going to ask you a couple of questions about your experience of journalism. So what a fascinating job you've got. So obviously our whole theme of the conference is about the power of networks and how good things happen when you meet people and you make connections. And I suppose I wanted to ask you about your experience of networking as a journalist. How is that? How have you found that experience?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, way back about 15 years ago, maybe more, I found it difficult to network with different people in terms of like the kind of like broadcasting side. But now my networks are so important that that's how like I get work, and as well as networking with different people, I kind of like I'm kind of like pals with them outside work as well. but also like my networks are very important to me because like if I need any help or if I've got any questions, but I always do because I've got millions of questions, then they're always there to kind of like help me. So yeah, I would say networks are very important to me. Yeah.
And Michael, you've been involved in some quite high profile things, haven't you, in terms of your experience of being a journalist? And can you tell us about some of the most kind of, I suppose, high profile work that you've been involved with?
Yeah, so recently I just got something for the BBC report in Scotland about Lennox Castle. I don't know if some people might know about Lennox Castle, but Lennox Castle used to be an institution for people with disability. And this year, June, I think it is, if my memory works well, it's been shut for 25 years. So I kind of put it to the BBC about we should actually do something about this because it's a very important story to tell. And I actually went up to Lennox Castle. I didn't realise it was miles away. And I was actually outside Lennox town. So it took me about, even though I was there, it took me about 10 minutes to find it because it was actually outside the Lennox town as well. So I interviewed one of the nurses, well, one of the ex-nurses, sorry, and one of the ex-patients as well. And that went out in the early part of the new year. And I got good feedback from that as well, from people on Twitter, and also like the child abuse scandal. They got in touch with me as well. So I think maybe we're doing some I kind of like follow up like in a year, but I'm not sure about that. So yeah, but that's the latest thing I've kind of been up to. I've done bits and pieces, but that's the most, I was going to say exciting, but it's not really. But I kind of like all the kind of like TV and all that kind of stuff. I've did, even though, as you were saying, Heather, like lockdown and all that's been a bit kind of like sad for most people because obviously people lost their family members, and I've lost some family members as well. But and in a work's point of view, it's been very beneficial to me because I've actually got work out of STV as well, so I've actually been quite lucky, yeah.
Well, Michael, that's particularly the story about Lennox Castle. That's an incredibly important story to tell, as you shared. And I saw that the work that you did, and it was excellent. And how did you put people at their ease? Because it's quite a tough thing to be interviewed, and particularly over something that's just quite very emotional about people being locked away for years. How did you help people put them at their ease? Because you did such a good job. What prep did you do with them beforehand?
Yeah, thanks. No, I basically, like ran over the questions and see if they were comfortable with me asking difficult questions because, as you know, Lennox Castle, it's not a very kind of dark subject, you would like to say. So I tried to put them at ease and all that, and we did do a couple of takes. It didn't happen right away. In fact, I was up there for that's the thing about TV. A lot of people think, well, you do the interview and you go away, but I was actually there for about 4 hours, believe it or not, lining all the kind of like interviews up as well. So yeah, I mean, it was very beneficial and all that, but the guy that I was interviewing, he did absolutely well. He got a bit upset, as you can imagine, because that was the first time that he's been back to the castle since it was shut in 2001, I think it was. So, but yeah, he actually did well to keep it together, and obviously, that we recorded and stopped at the same time, because and make sure everybody was comfortable with the recording. but it went well.
You did a great job, Michael, because you that came across very strongly in the interview, that you were very respectful. So well done. So Michael, I know that you're also involved in something else, an ongoing campaign, the Stay Up Late campaign. Do you want to tell us a wee bit about that? And then there's a chance for a plug for our event on Thursday night.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to say thanks for the advert for Thursday night. So basically, I'll speak about that in a minute. But like, Stay Up Late's important to me and important to you, Heather, and our people involved in the neighbourhood networks, because we always want people with a learning disability to stay up late. And that doesn't mean to go out the house. It can mean stay up late in your house and watch the TV. But we know that a lot of support workers puts people to bed early, and they don't really want to go to bed early. So this is a kind of campaign that's been running in England for about 10 years now. And basically, I've been working with a few organisations up here in Scotland to introduce kind of like Stay Up Late Scotland. So we're trying to get out and about now to tell a lot of people about it. And basically, it's like when you go out with a support worker, usually what you find is the support worker actually takes you away at 9:15. And let's face it, I mean, if you're out on a Saturday night, who wants to go home at 9:15 on a Saturday night? I'm not saying, you can stay out, but like, it should be you. It should be up to the individual to say, well, I want to go out, I want to go home now, and I want to go to my bed now. So like, that's like basically the. I gave you a whirlwind there, but that was basically about Stay Up Late. We've actually started a new kind of campaign called, it's on Twitter, so it's called #NoBedtime. And that's basically if people with a learning disability that has a support worker, that they shouldn't be put to bed early at night as well. So we're trying to stop that. Basically just to let people know about Stay Up Late, and basically let them know about their rights and all that, because everybody's entitled to go to bed when they want, and it's not up to somebody to tell them, right, Michael, time to go to bed, as well. So that's what the whole kind of campaign's about. And Heather, that's why it's sad how we have to have this campaign, because if people was entitled, if people got the right freedom and all that, we wouldn't have to have this campaign. But up until we get a bit of kind of justice, I don't know if that's the right word to use, but until we have that, we've got to have this campaign, and we've got to tell local authorities as well, and also the kind of Scottish Government as well, about people has the right choice and control and freedom to do what they want.
Yeah, well said, Michael.
Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold coming on.
No, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. So, no, very well said. And we are fully behind the campaign in Neighbourhood Networks, Michael. And we're very lucky to have the campaign guys supporting an event on Thursday night. And Dawn has put something up. And it's another event, right, that you've registered for. And it's from 8 o'clock at night till 11:30. And there's going to be DJs and singers and all sorts of entertainment. So again, just to encourage people to sign up for that. We'll be putting that across our social media for the next few days, and hopefully get lots of people to come along. And again, any of our visitors from New Zealand, it might be your morning, but you're welcome to come and join us for a breakfast music session. Have I missed anything about Thursday night, Michael? Anything else you wanted to say about the event?
No, I mean, what I would say was that because it's on Zoom and it's Zoom's been brilliant, Heather, because we've held a few gigs on Zoom. In fact, more than a few gigs on Zoom in the past year. And believe it or not, people's actually stayed up on Zoom till 1:30 in the morning. But compare that to a nightclub in Glasgow, it would be empty, you know, by 9 o'clock. So Zoom's been brilliant. But what I would say was, you're welcome to stay as long as you want or as little as you want, because there'll be a member of Stay Up Late to watch like the Zoom and all that. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing a lot of you, maybe not a lot of you, but some of you, or maybe more, on Thursday night, and you can have a wee dance as well. Even though I can't dance, but you know, I like to, you know, promote it the best I can. So come and join us on Thursday.
That's brilliant, Michael. Thank you so much for that plug. So hopefully, I think we've got actually a few takers in the audience saying they're going to come on from New Zealand, which is fantastic.
We've also got a few comments in the chat. So Michael, your talk there about Lennox Castle certainly had a few people in the audience. So Margaret Dudley, she's saying she visited Lennox Castle many years ago when she was a trainee nurse, and the visit has really stayed in her memory over that time. Emma's commented that she thought it was a great piece of journalism that you did at the time. It was really great. And also we've got a comment from William in Kilsyth, who spent time supporting people to move out of Lennox Castle, as did our very own Deputy Director, Adrian. He's saying that he had the privilege to support a number of people to escape Lennox Castle as part of the closure programme, and that we must never let people return to living in institutions like that, really. So it certainly had a few points there, and has gone down really well. So thank you for sharing your experiences there. And again, just to reiterate, please sign up for our party on Thursday night to help close our conference in style. The link is in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was really powerful, and you're doing some amazing work. And I'm delighted to hear that the COVID is giving you more opportunities, because you've got lots of stories to share for other people. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are nearly coming to the end of our session, so I'm just going to share a final couple of slides with you. If you bear with me a second. I don't want to miss this. This is their creative writing group actually created a special piece for us. Oh.
Friendship by Neighbourhood Network's creative writing group.
For everyone, wherever we are, rough times we carry through.
In solidarity, we weave a path. Endless opportunities are brought to you.
Nobody is ever left behind, driven by caring, pure support.
Sharing together, we learn new things, helping each other through word and thought.
Inspiring one another when we're together. Positivity and memories we'll have forever.
Okay, so that was read by Karen, Elizabeth, Alison and Josh from our creative writing group. And we've got a member of our creative writing group coming along to read something live at our last session on Thursday afternoon. So thank you so much. If there's anybody from the group in the audience today, thank you so much for that beautiful poem, and we'll certainly be getting that out across our social media. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to pass you over to Ross, who's just going to say a few closing words.
I just want to thank everybody for joining us today, including those attendees. You've all been fantastic. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you all sometime. Thank you.
Thanks very much, everyone. Take care. Thank you for joining us.